Your distraction from Perth would like to know what it is like working with different directors each week on Supernatural.
Very tough. Very, very tough. That's the worst part of working in episodic television. I mean, the hours are long, and that's hard enough. But a new director every episode, unless it's, I mean, we have a core of like Kim Manners, Phil Segrisha, Bob Singer. We have Eric Kripke. We have a few people that direct more than one every season, and Kim I think does 5 or 6. And so it's nice because he does a third of the season, and so it's nice to have those directors you've worked with before. You know what to expect, they know how to guide you, but luckily for myself and Jensen, we are sort of very in tune with our characters. Like, I understand Sam, I know him very well, he understands Dean, he knows him very well. So if we get a director that maybe it's his first time here on Supernatural, and they say, try this, then we can go, I wouldn't really do that, And so it's not just like, okay, I'll do whatever you tell me, and you see it and you go. So we, what's great is we have a lot of trust in directors that sort of trust Jensen and myself to know the characters, because I mean, it's just he and I in the show, so it's been a lot of Jensen and a lot of Jared for a lot of episodes, and so luckily the directors that come in have some trust for us, which makes us trust them more. But that is actually very tough.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, Avatar would like to know how different it is working on Supernatural compared to Gilmore Girls, and was it hard getting used to Dean being somebody else's cue to move and talk?
First question first, it's very different. It's funny because in Supernatural, I'm like fighting and running and kicking and screaming, and I'm also one of the 2 leads, as opposed to Gilmore Girls, I was maybe the 10th lead or something like that. And so I'd work 2 days an episode, 3 days an episode, and other days I'd kind of hang out in my house in LA, play with my dogs and stuff. But here it's just work. And I'm very excited about it. Obviously coming to Australia and seeing that people are watching the show way across the ocean, it's like, oh cool, it's worth it. But it's a lot of hard work. Also, we're living in Vancouver and shooting exteriors. We're always out at some location, whereas Gilmore Girls, we were on the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank for 21 episodes out of 22, and then for the other episode, we'd shoot like 2 or 3 days somewhere else for like a dance scene or something like that. So it's very disjointed. It's kind of like the difference between the shows. Gilmore Girls is set in a small town. It's very cozy and quaint and a lot of talking, a lot of fast dialogue. In Supernatural, we're like in a different city every episode, a different state. And it feels like shooting Supernatural, we're at a different location where our trailers are here and they're not there. And we're like, where are we and what's going on? It's rainy and dark. So it's almost like Jared and Jensen's experience is the same as Sam and Dean's experience. And then number 2 was, what was it? I like that second question.
About getting used to being someone else's cue.
There were parts, when we very first started shooting Supernatural, the cast and the crew don't know each other too well because they haven't really met. And so the crew says, okay, Dean's over there, Sam's over there. And so every time I'd hear Dean, I'd sort of like start walking, I'd bump into Jensen and be like, what are you, oh yeah, fine, you win, and like go somewhere else. But it's still weird, it's interesting. And we also have a focus puller named Dean, so Dean is very popular, but it was tough at first. Now I'm used to it.
You would be. Okay, Amy Winchester, which is not me, would like to know if you have ever read any Supernatural fan fictions.
I've not. I own a few of them, and I fully intend to read them. But it's funny because I have to be very careful to keep in tune with what myself and the writers are doing. So if I go off and read fan fiction, which would be enjoyable to me, I might mix it up in my head with something I need to do character-wise, which goes against something that Kripke's doing, which ultimately I need to be more committed to what Kripke and our writers are doing with the show. But maybe when it's all said and done, I'll just sit down and kind of get nostalgic and, cry and read the books. Like, Sam. I won't cry. But I told you I like it. So.
We cry enough for you, don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
Swift Vixen said that she has read from different actors working on Supernatural that it is always welcoming and fun to work on. Do you and Jensen make a note of making it welcoming because of past experiences on other sets?
Yes. That's not the main reason or the only reason, but we've talked about it before. We've been a part of sets where the leads are kind of, just into conflict or kind of negative or unhappy for whatever reason, and it's never a fun time. And it goes down from the top, you know. I mean, that sounds kind of arrogant, like the actors are the top. But if the actors are unhappy, then everybody in the crew is like this kind of isn't fun. And another thing, Kim Manners, who's our main director and one of our producers, said this kind of in passing one time, and I remember it stuck with me ever since. But he's like, you know what? I spend so much time with y'all guys. I see you more than I see my wife. I see you more than I see my best friends, my father, my children, my dogs, my home. He's like, if we can't have a good time, then what are we here for, you know? So why, especially with the hours that Jensen and I work, if we were unhappy or if we were like having a bad time, life would suck, you know? So it's, we just want to enjoy life, and we're very lucky, and we enjoy each other's company, and we all get along, and so why not have a good time, you know?